Hello and welcome to A Nobody's Opinion. Welcome back. This is my second video. I said I wanted to make more videos than my first channel and I'm already like not even doing one a week, but welcome back. We're so back, baby. If you clicked on this video, you already know what we're talking about. If you're not familiar with Fiona Harvey or who I'm talking about, frankly, I don't know how you got to this video because I have no subscribers and I have no targeted audience. So if you're watching this video, thanks for being here. Thanks for finding it. Thanks for giving this new channel a shot. I'm just here to speak as a nobody who doesn't have any famous ties. I don't have a high subscriber count. I don't have a skewed perspective of the things going on around me. I'm just here to talk about what I think we, the people, think is going on in the world. So thanks for being here and let's talk about Fiona Harvey and this lawsuit against Netflix. So obviously there's a lot of other videos and a lot of other YouTubers who already go way deep into the lawsuit with Netflix. But the major point that Fiona and her team are trying to make is that the show Baby Reindeer on Netflix has caused Fiona Harvey great distress and they are suing Netflix for defamation. Specifically because in the show and I think in front of the parliament in the UK, Netflix has claimed that the character Martha is a convicted stalker, which there is no record of, and that's why Fiona has some of the best lawyers in the world on her side, because all they're seeing is dollar signs like Mr. Krabs in their eyes. That is just the crux of the issue here. That's not exactly what I'm here to talk about. I'm not here to talk about the details of the Fiona Harvey case. However, I am here to say from my perspective, after watching the Piers Morgan interview with Fiona Harvey, after watching some interviews with Richard Gadd, obviously I watched the show. As an outsider, here's how I feel about the situation, and this is why I think things are playing out the way that they are, okay? So, obviously Baby Reindeer gets released on Netflix and it pops the fuck off, right? Everybody's like, holy cow, this is wild. And the main reason that people are so drawn to this, it's the same reason that like the Dahmer show popped off. It's the same reason that the Ted Bundy show popped off. It's the same reason that any narrative TV show or movie that is based on true events usually does really well. And in this case specifically, at the beginning of the first episode, it says this is a true story. I don't know as a viewer if I have any recollection in my brain, and I have, you know, some decades of years on the planet here. I can't think of a single other TV show or movie that I've seen or watched, which this is probably not true, but somebody I'm sure in the comments, if anybody ever sees this video, will say something. I don't have any recollection of that other than like maybe the Blair Witch Project said that. I don't remember, but I know that they had flag for like what was true, what was not. I know that they were on the cusp of the found footage era, but at the first episode of Baby Reindeer, it said this is a true story, which people are just not familiar with anymore. I mean, even in the world we live in, it's like there's your truth and my truth, right? So really, what is a true story? So seeing that from Netflix, which is a very reputable company, everyone's going into this story with the idea that this is pretty much an enactment of true events, right? A reenactment of true events. So keeping that in mind, and I myself watched this entire show under the guise or with the idea that all of the major plot points were true things, right? This Martha person, this perceived character was a convicted stalker. They stalked these other people. They did all these crazy things, yada, 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 right? Richard Gadd has not been faultless in his telling of the story. He's been very open about his fault in all of this situation. But none of this, I mean, obviously all of it is the real tragedy, right? This entire situation is a tragedy. But outside of that, to me, the real travesty is the fact that Fiona Harvey may have a case. And for me, the main reason that Netflix has not ever put out any proof against her, Richard Gadd has not put out any proof against her, nobody's actually come out and put anything with Fiona Harvey's face or name on it, on that side of this case, is because technically Netflix and Richard Gadd did not technically dox or reveal Fiona Harvey's identity. Netflix has never come out and said Fiona Harvey is Martha. They have never shown a piece of paper or any evidence connected to Fiona Harvey publicly. And I think that that's by design. Netflix has a huge law firm, team, group, people. They have a lot of lawyers, okay? And again, I'm a nobody. This is coming from a nobody's perspective. But even I, a nobody, looks at this situation and thinks, if I were Netflix, it would be in my best interest to not say a goddamn word about Fiona Harvey because they actually have never said anything themselves publicly that her name was Fiona Harvey in terms of the show. So, do I think that Fiona Harvey Harvey could potentially have a case? Absolutely. And I think that this case is going to set a precedent for, you know, TV shows and movies moving forward. Because again, technically in Baby Reindeer, Fiona Harvey is not mentioned. She is not anything. And to what degree of the law are people not allowed to tell their story, base it on their life, right? I think that if anything, obviously Netflix maybe effed up. I'm not swearing this time because apparently YouTube doesn't like it. Netflix did mess up when they said this is a true story, or not fact checking the fact that Fiona Harvey, or this person that Martha is, was not a convicted stalker. I have no information, but I also don't know if Netflix really even asked Richard Gadd who's the real person. I mean, obviously I'm sure people asked, but I'm not sure to what extent they would do that. Obviously there's a theory that the this is a true story part is Donnie's perspective in the show, like he's writing this story as he's telling it in the show, which is a valid argument, and I'll be curious to see if the lawyers bring that up in the lawsuit. But above all else, the biggest travesty in this story, where we're at right now, because all of the other travesties and tragedies and terrible things have already happened, the biggest travesty of this story is that if Fiona Harvey wins this case, this woman is being rewarded for the most foul, inappropriate, absurd, scary behavior simply because somebody told their story in a way that blew up and made money for them. If these roles were reversed and Richard Gadd was a woman and Martha's character / Fiona Harvey was a man, no one would give a shit at all how Fiona Harvey's feeling with Richard Gadd's story being told if these, you know, genders were reversed. And I think, to me, that is one of the biggest travesties of this story, and I think that's something that Richard Gadd kind of touched on in his show, but he's now experiencing now as well a little bit. And I'm not saying that Richard Gadd is faultless. I know that he probably did spruce things up because that's entertainment, right? He originally wrote this as a one-man show to just perform to maybe a room of 50 to 100 people, you know? Not justifying the fact that Netflix said this is a true story, not justifying anything made up, but again, Richard Gadd didn't say, like, this is Fiona Harvey in this show. The internet found Fiona Harvey, and sure, he could have deleted tweets, yada yada yada, left, right, and center, but I just don't understand, or I'm just very curious to see where the precedent is set with a case like this, especially because somebody like Fiona Harvey, in my opinion, is the least deserving of $170 million, let alone even half of that or a quarter of that. All that money is going to do is enable her to continue this psychotic behavior that she's clearly shown over the years that she's been stalking people. I mean, Piers Morgan has now had 3 separate people on his show talking about Fiona Harvey being a stalker, or including himself, because she wouldn't leave him alone either. So I don't know, Fiona Harvey, I hope you come sue me too, because I actually I don't really have anything for you, but it just seems like the biggest L of this potential outcome of this lawsuit is that someone like Fiona Harvey is going to be rewarded for bad behavior, and she's never gonna change because she's never gone to jail apparently for this shit in the first place, and she's certainly not gonna learn a lesson when Netflix writes her $1 million check to be quiet about it or whatever. I honestly think that by my logic, Netflix did not actually dox her. Netflix didn't actually do anything, and neither did Richard Gadd. Obviously they didn't reach out to her, but why would they reach out to his abuser? You know, like, these things, this is a difficult topic, and maybe Netflix just shouldn't have taken a show that this caliber in the first place, but to me it's like, I'm not gonna make some person who's telling me that they just suffered all of this abuse over the course of years, I'm not gonna say, hey, let's make sure we talk to that person before we tell your story. People don't expect people on TikTok to do that, and I know that this is bigger, but I don't know, man. Let me know how you guys feel. It's been a nobody's opinion. I'm feeling sparky today. I'm feeling livelier. My last video I sounded a little sad. That's not really who I am. The music I thought was also funny, but I'm now realizing that since this is a new channel, people might have watched that and been like, wow, she's really making this like really dramatic with the music, but that was kind of the vibe I was going for. But you know, either way, thanks for being here, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about Fiona Harvey and the Netflix case down below, and I will see you in the next one. It's been a nobody's opinion, and if you didn't like it, that's okay.